if you've been following my channel or pretty much anything I've been doing for the past few months, you might have seen that I've been starting to do some podcasting. It's been really informal so far. I've gotten some equipment, namely these microphones. I have 2 of them now. And I've started just sitting down with people that I know and love and think are interesting and asking them questions about their lives. And it's honestly taught me a good bit about listening, active listening, about steering conversations, about getting into interesting topics with people. And honestly, it's taught me a lot about life outside of podcasting. A lot of times now when I hop on the phone with people, I'll ask myself the question, if I was on a podcast with this person, how would I approach this conversation? And it's led to a lot more engaging phone calls with people, and I've just learned a lot more. I've been, I think, getting more curious about people's lives as I'm talking to them. And so anyway, all that is to say that if you see me out here on the interwebs doing podcasting, know that right now there's not a huge pointed purpose to them other than practicing the art of conversation. And this episode is definitely another chapter in that book. And it's with my wife, Gabrielle. And that just feels really special to me. And I think was an even cooler opportunity than some of the other podcast episodes I've done, opportunity to work on conversation, because obviously when you are thinking about conversation in context of marriage, it's something that you're constantly in and around. And I think seeing it in the framework of a podcast is super cool to me because it helps my brain rewire a little bit to something that's very casual and very constant in my life. And so this is the first of hopefully several podcast episodes that I'll be doing with Gabs. And it's pretty, it's not going to knock your socks off. It's just everyday conversations that we would already be having, some silly goofing around, mostly me just asking her about her experience in life over the last few months. But I assure you it is interesting and worth watching. So thanks for tuning in, and I hope you enjoy this conversation. Why is your Instagram private?
I don't see social media for me as a way to network or like curate a life to look a certain way. I just want it to be people that I know and love.
Didn't you get hacked one time?
No, Instagram just deleted my account once, but it was really good because then I just didn't have it, and I re-downloaded it again like 6.
What do you mean Instagram deleted your account?
It just was deleted one day. I was like,
you just tried to log in and it didn't exist?
Yeah, it said your account has been deleted. It was weird.
Whoa.
But I had that Instagram account since I was like 12. So it was sad because there was a lot
Instagram
of
when you were 12?
Yes, because I'm
That
younger
is
than you.
terrifying. Yeah, but like it was 2009, I think, when I got Facebook, and I was probably at least 16 or 17.
I also got Facebook in 2009.
How old was I in 2009? No, I wasn't 16. I was probably 14.
I was 9. But back to your question. I don't really want people I don't know seeing my life that way. I'm just a more private person, and it's just my space to be with friends and family and show them what's going on in my life.
Okay.
Yeah, and I just don't.
Are you okay with me having a public Instagram?
Yeah, for sure. As long as we don't start to live life for content.
Fair enough.
I think if we're documenting the life that we already live, that's great. But if we start to curate our life to look a certain way on social media, that's what I don't like, personally.
Same. I feel you. I like your haircut.
Thank you.
Why'd you cut your hair?
Why did I cut my hair? For strangers, the stranger version. Well,
no, let's just imagine Misty's watching the podcast, which you know she will.
My mom is Misty. I cut my hair because I've had long hair like this, or like that since I was
like what?
Like it was really long.
How long?
Past my butt. like mid cheek probably. And I had the hair that long. Well, your butt is,
Yeah, there's a foot of
there's
cheek
like at
in
least
there.
6 inches.
Depends. Yeah.
But anyways, so yeah, I cut my hair because I had really long hair since I was really, really little.
Okay.
And I was kind of always known for that. And because I surfed a lot and spent a lot of time in the ocean growing up, I had like really interesting color. It was really like white blonde with brown and just got a lot of attention for my hair. And as an adult, especially like attention just from strangers and men. And I think a lot of my identity, or, you kind of ask that question of when you get praised a lot for one thing, like, what am I without this one thing? Mm-hmm. Or am I still loved? Am I still beautiful? How do I even feel in my own skin without this thing? Mm-hmm. So much identity. I don't have like a fully developed theory on this, but I do think that your hair, like the rest of your body, holds things and emotion and energy. And I was just thinking about how much my hair has seen.
You did seem like a different person when you came back from that haircut.
Yeah. I cut it.
Especially the first like few hours.
Yep. I got it cut and I just started crying on the drive home because I was so relieved. And I was afraid I would be nervous or like regret that I cut my hair, but I just felt so relieved to cut it and just felt so in my body and beautiful and just a new, I think like I didn't need all that hair.
Yeah.
So it feels really good.
Cool. You look beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. Why were you down to do a podcast with me?
Well, I want to support you, and I know that you enjoy making content and doing podcasts with people.
Okay.
And I think it's a fun way for people to know you more that want to know you. And yeah, I just want to support.
Okay. What would you be most interested in me asking you questions about?
That's not my job.
Not your job, but like what are things that you don't want to be asked about? And what are things that you'd be excited to be asked about?
I don't want to be asked about our sex life because I just don't think that's something I want to talk about. And I don't want to be asked about, that's pretty much it.
Damn. Okay. So Israel, Palestine, who you got?
I don't want to be asked about anything political.
Okay. Sounds like a good call.
So political or like, yeah, that's it.
Okay, great. Some good boundaries, some guidelines.
Yeah.
Let me refer to my notes. What's it like to be married to me?
What?
I just think that's a funny question.
Decided.
What's it like to be married to me?
What is it like to be married to you?
Yeah. Yeah, really feel it.
It's a lot. It's a mix of sometimes feeling like a parent every once in a while.
Okay.
And
not off to a good start.
No, I just wanted to start with that so we could end on a really high note.
That's a good call.
Just like,
love that.
think it brings out more my hyper responsible oldest child side because that is not so much your nature.
Sure. So
I think I lean into that a lot more. It's really fun. It's very sweet. We laugh a lot. And yeah, I think we get into these zones where I could just be with you for every hour of every day and not get tired of it. You're just a very sweet person. And I just really enjoy, it's a mix of fun and sweet and sometimes chaotic and, which is what I think love should be like.
Yeah, agreed. Do you think we've grown more similar or more different since we've gotten married?
I don't think we've grown either way. I think we've just realized more and more how different we are.
Okay.
I wouldn't say we've become more different.
What are the big differences then?
Well, I think we see money differently for sure.
Yeah, that's
in some ways.
Family of origin stuff.
Mm-hmm. A lot of family of origin stuff like that. I think like time and planning we see very differently.
Okay.
I really like to feel like prepared, and like even today I meal prepped for the whole part of the week that we're here. And I just really I don't like feeling unprepared or
True. That's why it takes you so long to get out of the house.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't like feeling unresourced, I think, is another big one.
Dang. It's a fancy way to say it.
Yeah, where it's like if I'm hungry, it makes me mad that there's no food in the fridge, you know, because I'm like, I didn't prepare, I didn't care for myself, and I knew this would happen, you know, which is why I like to plan ahead and feel resourced. And I think you are less that way, and more kind of resource yourself in the moment, or like things come together in the moment a lot for you, which a lot of times works. And I think it's just harder for me sometimes.
No, my grocery shopping is terrible.
Yep, which is
I'm
why
really good
I
at like
do
getting.
the grocery shopping.
I just need that. Well, I like to come. I'm allowed to come. I can come get.
Put too many little treats in the cart. I have to be like, John.
Sometimes you're the one.
You
and I have to
can't
swat
get those
you away.
cookies.
Yeah, but you get so much kombucha. Let's talk about. You literally had a health person tell you last week that you need to drink less kombucha because you might have a yeast overgrowth or something, whatever that's called.
A gut overgrowth or a bacteria. I don't know. And nothing's been confirmed.
I
feel
it in my bones though. That's what it's kombucha. It's death by kombucha.
Yeah. I also, back to your question. I also think we're different. I think you are very fearless in a way. I think you always just kind of think things will be fine and they'll work out. Sometimes you don't, and you kind of spiral, and I can be a friend too in that, but I definitely more tend on the side of like caution and just calculating all the risks, and you are not that way, which I think I appreciate about you.
Yeah. Is it hard to be in a marriage with someone that's 5 years older than you?
No.
Really?
I don't know what it's like not to.
Good point.
But sometimes I think our age shows a little.
Where?
You know? Just thinking back to, I mean, definitely when we both reflect on our childhoods and like how old we were at different years.
Yeah.
You know, when you're young and it's like, oh, you were graduating college when I was graduating high school.
Right. No, I remember watching like the Two Towers fall on news the year after you were born.
Yeah, exactly. Things like that where it's like, oh. But I would say, yeah, that's probably the biggest one. And just I think sometimes like I feel a little behind where like you've just had more time to learn things about like money and
career things are different.
Yeah, career, and I feel like, oh, I'm bad at that. And then I realize like, wait, you've had all this time to learn that, and since I've known you, have been in major life stages of like finishing school, and I just haven't had the time in the world, I think, to learn some of the things that you have.
Sure. Cool.
Because of just, you know, I haven't been around as long.
Yeah. What's my beige flag?
What is your beige flag? Don't
hurt yourself.
I know. I'm just. It's a funny question. I'm trying to think. Beige flag.
You can go green flags too if you want.
Your beige flag. To me, this is a beige flag, but this might not be a beige flag to everybody.
Okay.
No, I shouldn't do that one.
Too personal.
No, I don't want to like. I want to be. I don't know if it's mean. I can't tell.
But it's beige. Beige is not. It's not quite a red flag.
Okay, here's your beige flag. Here's something that's come up recently. Well, for one, it's making big plans or travel plans and not telling me until like the week before. Not because you don't mean to. You just don't think about it.
Was that with?
That's happened with a few work trips. You'll just be like, oh yeah, I'll be gone for this next week. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's true.
That's kind of a funny beige flag. I think another one would be kind of like I was talking about earlier. Like not thinking ahead as far as food. For some reason, this one really gets me. Like knowing that you have to bring food to an event in the evening and then 10 minutes before realize you never made the thing. And so you just buy food on your way instead, which I already grocery shop for. Sometimes that's a little beige flag to me.
Wasn't that more of like a red flag? Isn't a beige flag just like a weird thing that you do that's just like weird that isn't like necessarily positive or negative? It's just weird.
Well, I kind of feel like that is not negative or positive. Well, maybe we should edit that part out.
It's kind of more of a red flag.
Sorry, I didn't.
This is unedited. This is unedited.
No, please. I don't want people to think I'm mean.
No, you're not mean. You're just, it's okay. We got to roast each other every
What's
once
another
in a while.
beige flag?
Like your beige flag is sometimes in often ways you don't know your right from your left.
Yes.
See, that's like a very harmless roast.
Okay.
It's not necessarily like bad. It's just like, it's actually, I've heard a lot of homeschoolers can relate to that for whatever reason.
Yeah.
They really drilled it into us in public school, but I guess
I get
homeschoolers
that.
weren't really given the whole.
No. I still don't quite. I think it's this way, though.
I don't think you're mean. We just got to roast each other every once in a while.
Well, I'm not trying to roast you. What is it funny? You do so many weird things.
Oh, I know my own beige flags.
Here's another beige flag.
What?
You literally will be mid-conversation with me in bed and fall asleep.
That is the definition.
That is
of
a beige flag.
Yeah, that's the definition.
Or I will like look over and like we'll be talking and then I literally turn around for 1 second to just grab my book and you're already snoring and twitching. That is just wild to me.
Twitch
Don't you have to think about like death and life and your future and all of that while you're falling asleep?
That's
a little existential crisis every night.
One of the biggest places we're different, I think, in life.
Yeah,
you
I will
take
never
forever to wake up, and I take and fall asleep, and I can do both real quick.
I don't know how you rip yourself in and out of consciousness so fast. To me, that would be like traumatic.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Let's see what else we got on the agenda here. Ooh, I love this question. What's a work of art that's impacted you lately? Could be a song, a poem, a book, anything.
What is a work of art? Well, I was talking to my mom on the phone the other night, and Mary Oliver is it probably is my favorite poet.
Does Misty like Mary Oliver?
No, but
like doesn't doesn't know?
She just doesn't really.
Okay.
She's not super familiar with her.
You have to be like that's like hating puppies or something like that.
Well, if you don't know what you. I'm sure she would like her if she read her, but she just hasn't as much. I think a little bit, but not a lot.
You should read Misty. Specifically Mary Oliver. I know you're literate. I know you read books, but Mary Oliver's great.
Poetry. But we were talking about. I was on the phone with my mom, and we had a death. We have had a lot of death in our family in the last couple of years, and we had a death of a close friend who was kind of like family. And on the phone call, she would probably hate me for sharing this, but hopefully she'll never listen. But she kept switching between like laughing and crying, and I made a joke about one of our family members kind of looking like Yzma. And so from Emperor's New Groove, so we were laughing about that. And then she was kind of bawling her eyes out again about the death. And the poem by Mary Oliver came to mind. And it's just, what is the poem? But it's something about we shake with joy, we shake with grief.
I can cut out a pause if you want to go get the book and read it.
Yeah, I have it on my phone.
Okay. Pause.
Okay. So the poem... Begin. The poem says, we shake with joy, we shake with grief. What a time they have, these two, housed as they are in the same body. Mary Oliver. And that just was really beautiful to me.
We shake. Nice toss. We shake with joy, we shake with grief. What a time
these two have, housed in the same body as they are.
I like that.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, and how has it impacted you?
I think just like realizing the complexity of humanity, that you can cry and laugh within a 30-second span. and that our bodies are safe and capable of holding all of that in the same moment.
Yeah. And that's kind of been a little bit of like your experience with so much death and hard things in your family is like stuff with your family is really good and fun. And also there's like a lot of hard stuff at the same time.
Yeah, a lot of tragedy. So
Yeah.
I would say a lot of the funerals we've had in the last couple years have been like that, where you're crying and laughing, just remembering. And I think that's a very common experience of grief.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. What have you learned about doing dates well by dating me?
Well, specifically with you, I think it'd be different with every person.
Sure.
But with dating you, I've learned you need to be prepped with coffee if we're going to be out past 8:30.
Sure.
So having your 6 p.m. coffee.
I'm not a night owl. Not at all.
I would also, I feel like setting an expectation of like how long we'll be out can be helpful for both of us. And I would say, what else? Yeah, I would say like making an effort.
Yeah.
I think it's important to dress up and look cute. And for me, I like to like put on makeup and fun earrings and heels and kind of make you also look dressed nice, you know?
What? It's a collab. Like,
it's a
not
date.
I'm not like a doll you're dressing
No,
up.
of course not. But just like kindly suggest like, hey, you should put on a nice shirt
like
for a date.
The cool new pants I got?
Yes.
Yeah.
Like your cool new pants.
I got some cool new pants.
And I think trying new things, not always going to the same restaurant or the same place, not always doing the same thing.
Yeah.
Also for us, taking turns has been really nice.
Yeah. Like
we used to do that.
Dates or planning the date. Yeah.
Just taking turns planning the date. So it kind of feels like you're like treating the other person.
Right.
And it's a fun thing and not
Even
just
though you
like.
share a bank account.
Yeah.
Potentially.
Yeah. Maybe. And not just like, oh, yeah, let's go out to this place we both agreed upon. It's kind of fun to be like, all right, my date night. Here's my little plan. This fun activity. We're going to this special surprise place. So it just kind of brings an element of kind of novelty and fun.
Yeah. Dates have been good lately.
Yeah.
I feel like we had like a good stretch where we would somehow like get this curse of like having a horrible fight right before our date and then just being like pissed at each other the entire date.
It's true.
But I think we've kind of broken that curse a little bit.
Uh-huh.
Let
me go turn that off.
Oh.
It is 8:10, 4:51. All right. Your parents will be here at 5:15.
Oh, great. We got time. So yeah, I feel like dates have been fun. Marriage has felt like better. I feel like.
Yeah.
I think because I was gone in California for a while, I think like it was one of those like distance makes the heart. I think sometimes that's not true, but distance does make the heart grow
for
fonder.
Sure.
And I think this has been one of those like we were just like obsessed with each other this week because we were gone for like a week and a half.
My hormones are also in balance.
True, we're hitting your hormones in golden hour. Golden hormone hour.
Literally. It's my golden week, so that really helps.
Is that a thing?
Well, yeah, it's just like...
It's called golden hormone?
No, it's just, the time between after your period through ovulation is a very pleasant time emotionally. And then you take the plunge.
When's the plunge coming? Thanksgiving?
Yeah.
Just in time to be with
probably
your
in about a week, I'll take the plunge.
Okay, great. How can I prepare?
Just know. You just got to know and be ready.
Okay, I'll mark my calendar. I should. Whoa. Should I start putting your period on my calendar?
For sure.
That's such a good. But I guess because it kind of shifts a little bit, doesn't it? Oh, really?
Every 28 days.
Yeah, but a lot of months are like 30, 31 days.
Yeah, but if you can get apps that just like
really
count every 28 days. Yeah.
Oh, that would be sick. Okay. Guys, hope you're taking notes. Where was I? I was gonna. Oh, if you were right now to have someone be like, "Hey, I'll pay you $1 million to write a book on any topic that you feel most passionate about right now," what would you decide to write that book about?
I think I would write the book about. I would write it about. Ooh, this is a taboo, but personally, I would write it about. Don't try to say what I'm going to say.
Okay,
Just let me speak for myself.
Go.
I think I would write it about the harmful effects of purity culture on female sexuality and how that can register in the body very similarly to abuse, like sexual abuse, and the shame that can bring. Not to say that having a sexual ethic is wrong. I think it's very important. I just think...
Like a Christian sexual ethic, you mean?
Yeah.
Or just a sexual ethic at all?
I mean, I think you should have a sexual ethic in general.
Yeah.
And not that there's anything wrong with a Christian sexual ethic, but I think using just the whole messaging around people's bodies being, kill the flesh and your heart is deceitful above all things. A lot of that language, I think, has majorly impacted how all but hugely women see their bodies and are so disassociated. And I think our bodies and our sexuality is a really important part of being a spiritual person.
Yeah. I was thinking you were going to say something about that, but then I was like, is this a bad question? Because you also said you don't want to talk about sex.
I'm not writing a book about our sex life. It's just about like...
Oh, you were saying you just don't want to talk about our specific sex life.
Fine talking about sex.
You like talking about sex?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, maybe in another podcast because we're kind of out of time. But
yeah.
I think that'd be a great book. Have you read any books that are sort of like along those lines that have been helpful for you?
I feel like I've listened to more podcasts in that realm. I haven't read a ton of books. I've read books about like the harmful messaging that Christianity can have on women, not necessarily sexually, but just like in general. Especially
what book is that?
Jesus Feminist was a really cool one.
Is that Rachel Held Evans?
Sarah Bessie.
Who's friends with Rachel Held Evans? That's right. Yeah. Okay.
But not necessarily specifically about sexuality.
Okay.
But I know there are good books out there about that. I just haven't read
the female experience in Christian culture.
Yeah, just in like the very, especially on the far extremes of like a complementarian, women can't speak in church type of situation.
Yeah, totally.
Which is just not where I stand currently.
What's not where you stand currently?
That women should not speak in church.
Oh, same.
Or in general.
Yeah, no, that's not where I stand.
Personally. But
For sure.
I don't want to get into that too much.
For sure, really? You're not trying to ruffle feathers? You should just go off. Just do it,
I'm
Gabs.
good. No.
Nah, yeah. It's kind of rough to be that person on the internet that's like boldly stating opinions so that everyone else can like roast them.
Well, it's more I just like am picturing my family watching this and being like, oh, say more.
Yeah. Well, you've like kind of had conversations.
Yeah, kind of, but I don't know. I'm kind of in this space where I don't really feel like
you'd probably rather have this
conversation
personally with them before you like.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to get into any debates. Like this is just what I personally think at this season of my life. All is subject to change.
Sure.
As it is, I think, or I hope it is for all people at all times.
Yeah.
Agreed.
That's actually brings me to another question. Like, what's one idea that you felt like you had like really solidly in place that you feel like you've kind of shifted on or like think differently on in the last like couple months?
Couple months.
Yeah. I want to know like kind of the cutting edge.
It's hard to think of something that feels that new. That's like a new. There was something I was reading about. Well, this is so random, but I feel like in the last couple of months, I have been learning a lot about, I've been doing a lot of research about working from home versus in office.
Ooh.
Because
Are you pro office or pro home?
I'm pro home.
Really?
Yeah.
Even for like a big tech organization or interesting.
Yeah,
I
I think people are starting to value more and more flexibility to be able to take care of themselves and their family, which wasn't really valued in the same way before in the workplace.
Right.
And I think people have started to learn like, oh, wow, I can actually be better at my job when I have those 2 hours back in my day that I'm not commuting, or I have that time to like do a quick load of laundry while I'm in between meetings, or like be able to pick up and take my kids to school and have that little quality time that I didn't have before.
Sure.
Or go to the doctor and it doesn't, then I'll just work an hour later instead. I think people are just realizing, and I've seen even for myself personally, I'm actually more efficient when I'm in an environment that feels really healthy for me.
Yeah.
And I can like nourish my body well, and I'm not like, oh shoot, I forgot to pack a lunch, I have to go to Subway. It's like there's a different
What
pace.
about the scenario of like a Google type office where it's like they have like chefs built in and like super, super nice space? Like, do you think if you were the CEO of a company like that, you would feel good about like making people come in? Or do you think like there's just not a place for like mandated office time?
I don't know fully what goes into those decisions. It's hard for me to
it's kind of
feel like I could make that call for a whole company. But I do think giving people a feeling of like autonomy and choice over the matter. Yeah. Because literally if your job is just on a computer that you could literally do from your like office at home or your cubicle in a building you have to drive to, I don't get why we mandate that necessarily.
Totally.
There's other lines of work where you do need to go in.
Right, like if you're a nurse or a doctor.
Yeah, exactly. You can't work from home unless you do telehealth. But I think if people feel they have choice, they appreciate a company a lot more and will, I'm sure Google employees would choose to go in to get that free lunch and save money on lunch,
Yeah, totally.
But I think it's nice if they don't feel like, oh, I have to. Yeah.
Well, we have those offices like just down the street in Boulder for Google, and like I've heard from people that work there that it's like literally the sickest thing ever.
For sure.
So I've always sort of thought like offices for the most part are like a terrible master but a really good servant. Like if you try to like make it a rule, things get weird really quick. But if you make it a tool that's like helping people and people like actually would want to choose it, like it just makes a lot more sense to me. But office stuff is tough when you kind of have to, because you've recently had to start going back into the office more. And how's that been?
I won't get into it.
Fair enough. Yeah.
But it's fine. I'm making it work, but it's definitely not my preference.
And it's super different.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I'll say about that.
I love that. Hey, well, I think we should wrap up because we're a bit at time, but thanks for being on episode 1.
Yeah. I'm going to go put rice in the rice cooker and
make some dinner.
Yeah.
But
thanks for having me.
Thanks for tuning in. I feel like I really liked from the first time we did like content together that we sort of crowdsourced questions. So I think we should do that because I think we should I would love to do another episode. I don't know about you. We can debrief about this later. But if we do another episode, you guys should let us know what you would like us to talk about. And if you have specific questions relating to anything we've been talking about or anything that we're interested in, hit us up. So, thanks for joining.
Thank you.
Thanks for being on the show, Gabs.
Thanks for letting me sit at our kitchen table with you.
Good time.
Signing off.